Hello, 3D animators. It's week 13. Today, we're going to talk about your final assignment, and we're also going to look at different 3D programs out there. And I know in 3D Basics, we kind of talked about this a little bit. And so you'll see, if you even remember that, you'll see some of the things that we talked about in the basics class, but this is going to be more of the framework of like what should I do next? Because a lot of times, or for many of you, if you're like pretty serious about one aspect of 3D, you may eventually want to think about also learning another software in addition to knowing Blender. But we'll cover that in a little bit because first I want to talk about your final assignment. So here we go. Your final assignment. You should begin working on your final assignment. So this is the big one. 30 points. Showcase what you've learned in 2 semesters of 3D with a portfolio-worthy animation. Choose whatever kind of animation you'd like, but make sure it's something you can fully complete by the end of the semester. That is key here. I think many times students will have this really big idea, and it's a great idea, but it also is like a tough thing to do in 4 weeks. And especially when it's like, you've got other classes that you're trying to wrap things up. So I want you to come up with something realistic, but that's bomb.com. Continuing. You are not required to use your own models, but I highly encourage it. Do not misrepresent someone else's work in your portfolio and reel. So as a creative person, you should have a reel and a portfolio, and you should make it clear that if you're using someone else's models as part of your animation, that you say so. And like if it's in your reel, maybe it's just a little like lower third, a little blurb on the bottom that just says like animation, like not like animation and modeling, things like that. But like hopefully you have a portfolio that also like showcases individual projects, and there you can also state that this is just your animation and not your modeling. But I think hopefully John or whoever will talks about that in your portfolio class. Okay, if you're having trouble coming up with ideas, here's some ideas that I threw together. You could make a dance sequence to a song. Again, like maybe just watch out for copyrighted music. A dramatic comedic scene between characters. A dramatic slash or comedic scene. You could do a series of video game character attack moves or spell casting animations. So like it doesn't necessarily have to be like one thing that has a beginning and an end. Like if you're the kind of person who's interested in video game stuff, maybe you've got a character. Whoops, I meant to highlight this line. Maybe you've got a character that has like 6 attack moves. There's like a chop, and then maybe there's a thrust, and then there's maybe a flourish, and then maybe there's also like a spellcasting. Maybe there's like a heal, and maybe there's like a fireball. So you can do all of those different chunks and put them together as like a showcase of this character's abilities or something like that. Maybe you don't do anything with the character at all. Maybe you do like a movie or a series title sequence. Like mine and Todd's favorite website, one of our favorite websites, artofthetitle.com. A lot of cool behind the scenes stuff. So like if you're watching a series lately and you're really inspired by their cool title sequence that uses 3D, maybe you can create your own fictional title sequence. Or maybe like you're really into geometry nodes and like just watching the thing about geometry nodes really kind of tickled your fancy a little bit, and you want to try to create some more procedural or animated art. All great options. So again, it doesn't have to be a character thing. It doesn't have to be, like, and even if it is a character thing, it doesn't have to be something with a narrative. It could be a series of animations that all kind of work together. So it's really open-ended, and I want you to choose something that you're interested in doing and that you think you can accomplish and will be special. 30 points is the value of this. You get 9 points for your level of effort. I'm looking for 10 plus hours spent on this. So this is the same as in the modeling class if you're doing that final project as well. And like, I'm not gonna ask you to like log your time spent. And like, I'm also not gonna like doubt. I'm gonna give everyone the benefit of the doubt. With this, that like you're truly spending time on it, but it's just like it's for your own just sense of like how hard should I be working on this. 15 points for your animation skills. So this is the animation class. This is worth half of it. Is just like how well you are at using keyframes, how efficient your keyframes are, using easing or the graph editor, stuff like that, and cohesion. I put this in here. I originally had the word style, but like style is so subjective. So what I meant by that was, like does your animation make sense? like if you're doing like a character that's bouncing a basketball, like the character's casual and like it's like moving really cool, but then your basketball is like dong ding dong ding, like doing something like just that doesn't fit. It's not cohesive. So like, and again, this is maybe kind of a subjective thing, but I it's my way of saying like I don't want messy animations. I want like tidy animations. And now I'm backtracking again, but it's like, well, maybe my style is messy, and then that's fine too. But basically, like, show me your animation skills. Push your limits a little bit. Get a little uncomfortable. Try something that you feel is going to be difficult but doable. And then 3 points for submitting a video file. So the other like factor in render time. The other thing about this is render, because that is an important part of animating, is actually getting an animation that can be seen. So if you need to, go back and look for the rendering lecture, and please render an image sequence, because I'm guessing many of you will have lots of frames, and you would hate for the night before the deadline to be rendering everything out and your cat pulls your power cord or something like that. So render image sequence. If you need a reminder, go back and watch the rendering lecture. Okay. And then finally 3 points for on-time submission. So hopefully you're feeling excited about this rather than nervous that you get, but pick something interesting. I'm excited to hear what you got going on. As always, email me questions, thoughts, concerns. If you want me to weigh in on your idea, if I think it's a good idea or a bad idea, I'd be happy to do that. Okay, let's talk about other programs. So, the other thing I maybe should have said as part of assignment 5 when you're watching a piece of media is hopefully you looked at the credits for whatever you watched. And I want you, and maybe if you already watched your piece of media, I could just go and just open up the credits again real quick and just like look at all the different jobs and all the different things that people do and be amazed, basically. And also, side note, this lecture is going to kind of overlap with my career advice lecture a little bit. That's in a couple weeks. So I'll jump in a little bit out of order. After Thanksgiving, I'll do another like sort of technical lecture about your questions answered, including preparing animations for video games. But anyway, what was I even talking about? No, I need to pause. Yeah, okay. So now I'm out of focus. Focus. Okay, there we go. I think that's better. So I mentioned at the beginning that for some of you, the next step might be to start looking at other 3D programs. Now, this is if you have a very, very specific vision for what you want to do as a career. That if you're taking 3D and you're like, I want to be an animator and I want to make feature films, and I want to animate characters, there's a pretty clear path forward with that. If you're the person who's like, I really want to, like, I'm not interested in characters, but I'm really interested in like animating and motion design and stuff like that. There's also a pretty clear path with that too. But if you're the person who's like, I don't know, like I like doing this, and there's other kind of creative things that I'm into, but I'm just looking for a job that I enjoy. Blender is great for that. Blender is amazing for that, in fact, because it's free $99. But anyway, and a lot of people say like, well, why are we learning Blender? Like, nobody wants Blender. That's false. There are a lot of people that don't use Blender. There are like studios and like production houses and ad agencies and stuff that don't use Blender, but they absolutely use the skills from Blender. And that's one of the things about the like 3D software space, is that there are so many options. I'm trying to think of an example. So like if you're a photographer, you have to know Photoshop, because like Photoshop is the one program that photographers use. No, it's not the one. But like if you're a photographer, if you're a serious photographer, you need to know how to do Photoshop. And there's a few other things like Bridge and like other photo editing programs. That's not to say there aren't others, but like that's the one that will get you a job and get you hired. And like people just always say like, yeah, you gotta know Photoshop. But in 3D, there's literally dozens of programs that are all good in their own way. So I've selected a couple that we're gonna just like look at a little bit. It might be a refresher, and I've also pulled up a couple of job postings, just so like you can see. And here's the thing about job postings too. You can always look at job postings. Like if you're serious about finding a job in the creative industry, like looking at job postings and applying for jobs is your job. So like there are some people that just kind of like wait around for like the right thing and say like, well, it's not exactly what I want, or like, oh, I'm not sure I can do that. Yeah, whatever, just apply. Anyway, I'm getting out of myself. Okay, first thing here. Let me blow this up a little bit. Let's go over here to my browser. I'm on DisneyCareers.com, and they have a job posting for an animator. If you're in the Vancouver area, which I don't think anyone necessarily in this class is, but let's look. So job summary. I think this is like an entry-level position for Disney. Animators to join a team in Vancouver. We're the longest-running animation team. We want talented CG character animators who show exceptional understanding of acting, appeal, entertainment, weight, locomotion, anatomy, and dialogue. We want artists with a strong point of view. Okay, blah blah blah. Job responsibilities, but also let's look at the requirements here. A reel, no more than 2 minutes in length, of character animation that illustrates visual storytelling, believable expressions, emotional states, weight, physics, balance, appeal, entertainment, clear timing, and staging. At least 2 years of production experience. So in the first 2 lines of the requirements, they don't say anything about software. It's more about the content. It's like, is it good? Is it showing emotional states? Is it appealing? Is it entertaining? Things like that. This is what they value. Line 3 says proficiency in Maya or equivalent software, preferred but not required. So I've heard in multiple semesters someone who's like, well, why aren't we learning Maya? Maya is good, and you can learn Maya. But like, it's knowing Maya is not the thing that's going to get you the job. So I'll state for the millionth time, Blender is great for learning, and it's also great for like the generalist. And the skills learned in Blender can be used in Maya, absolutely. Um, so there's many things that overlap in all 3D programs. Like just the concept of modeling in general. It's like extruding, loop cuts, like beveling, like that's all that, like joining, bridging, smoothing, subdivision surface. Like those are all things in every program. And like the 8 things I listed is like 90% of modeling. Maybe not 90%. 75% of modeling. And it's universal across, well, not universal, but it's like, it's a component of every one of these 3D programs. So jumping to another program there's an adjustment that needs to be made to like learn the keyboard shortcuts and just understand the terminology and things like that. But it's not as difficult as it may seem. All right, so let's look at Maya. Let's see what Maya is all about. So here you can see right on the front page of Maya, we've got Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy here. So like you can clearly see Marvel using this guy, Maya. Create expansive worlds, complex characters, and dazzling effects. Check out the cost here. $5,000 paid every 3 years. $1,700 paid a month, or $225 a month. This is another reason why I don't encourage students to engage with Maya. Now, that's not to say they do have other things. What is this Flex? Maya costs 6 tokens a day, $300. Oh, this seems like a scam. I don't know. I haven't done the math, but it doesn't seem like that. But I believe educational access. I believe that there's, if you go to students here like this, you can get a fair amount of this, a fair amount of access to Maya for free if you are a student. Let's see, Autodesk education plan. Learn more. So I know for a fact that if you're a student, and I forget, like it may be like a free situation. Because when I took 3D class, this 3D class at Hennepin Tech, we learned Maya, and it was their student license was 3 years for free, but you had to verify that it was that you were a student. Yeah, so confirming eligibility, it's like you need to give them your transcript or something like that. So there's a couple of hoops you have to jump through, and I'm not exactly sure of the price. But maybe it is still free. If someone wants to like dig this up, that's totally fine. I encourage it. So that's Maya. So Autodesk actually has quite a few tools. 3ds Max, 3D Studio Max is another one of their things. It's very similar to Maya, but Maya is like the one for animators. So like, Disney was asking for it. AutoCAD is a product design, there's some other things. Arnold is like their render engine, sort of like Cycles. Anyway, so that's Autodesk. Now the other thing that, okay, so there is another one. Actually, I pulled up this job posting as well. So this is maybe like more of an advanced this is like a senior level job posting here. LinkedIn's a great place to look at job postings. So this the name of this job title is technical director model rigging for Pixar Animation Studios. And so this is like someone who is like in charge of like modeling and rigging. So this is using, one of the responsibilities for this is using modeling software like ZBrush to sculpt and refine a neutral model to fit the aesthetic needs of character designers. I thought maybe this also said something about Houdini. But maybe that was another job posting I found. But anyway, so this leads me to the next two things I want to talk about. The first of which is Houdini. This is actually one that's been around for a while, but I think it has recently become more popular. But you notice on the front page here, it says fully procedural. It says Houdini is built from the ground up to be a procedural system that empowers artists to work freely, create multiple iterations, and rapidly share workflows with colleagues. So, whoops, bumping my mic, and my little rubber band thing came off. There we go. So Houdini has a node-based workflow. They advertise here. So if you have been excited by the nodes in Blender, Houdini might be the thing for you. So like the procedural modeling. This is where those types of people often end up, is in Houdini. And if you look at the reel here, you can see like the first shot is this is from Frozen 2. So the movie Frozen 2 was made in Houdini. So Frozen 2 is obviously Disney as well. So it's like even Disney is using a variety of tools to make their stuff. So they're using ZBrush, and they're using Maya, and they're using Houdini, because they're all good, and they all do really cool different things. So if we go through the reel here, you might recognize a few things. I don't recognize many of them, but I do see like when I'm on the social medias and I'm looking at creators and the stuff they've made, I think a lot of times I'm seeing Houdini. So you can see that there's like some real movie effects in here too, like a helicopter crash, or like whatever this is. But this is all done with a node-based workflow and procedural. There's Frozen 2 again. Yeah, is there anything else I recognize? Oh, I think I saw like the movie Creed in here too. Yeah, is that Creed? I never actually saw it. Jurassic World. So yeah, I mean, like this is another big one. I don't know what this one is. There's a polar bear. Frozen again. Soccer. Robots. Yeah. So that's Houdini. So I've never actually personally touched this one, so I don't have a lot to say about it, but it's there. So, and I think if I even go down a little further, the websites are great info. So here's like an example of the workspace. You can see there's lots of like animation keyframes happening here, but also lots of like nodes happening over here. So this is the Luktan character from Airy and the Secret Seasons. So this looks like it's from a video game. Yeah, so if they do film and TV, game developers, motion graphics, and VR. So that's what Houdini says they're all about. The other one that was noted in this job posting for Pixar was ZBrush. So here's ZBrush. You can see they have a pretty busy website here. But ZBrush is recently, within the last year or so, has been purchased by Maxon. So I'm going to scroll down so we're not looking at that anymore. But ZBrush is, and I should actually be clear that it's not an animation tool. but it is probably the best, one of the best character creation tools for sculpting. So it says, born in clay, ZBrush sets the industry standard for digital sculpting and painting, and ensures you have customizable brushes to shape texture, blah, 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 blah. And then here's a picture of Groot here on from Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's two different programs, each advertising a character from Guardians of the Galaxy. So ZBrush is like, yeah, we got Groot, and Maya is like, yeah, well, we got Rocket. So I don't, and actually maybe I should click this video and see what this is all about. This is their ZBrush's film and TV reel. Looks like some DC stuff. That's Marvel. I know that's Thor. This is the Thor movie. There's Spider-Man. Yeah, and so there's a lot of like, that was Lord of the Rings. That, I don't know what that one is. One of those was Moana, I think. Anyway, so like a lot of these programs, like people jump between them too. Like you can create a character in ZBrush, and then you can bring it into Maya and do all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's ZBrush, but I don't want to spend too much time on that because that one's not an actual animating program. But ZBrush, I mentioned ZBrush has been brought into the Maxon fold, and Maxon is trying to become the new Adobe, because they've purchased up a bunch of different softwares, IPs, and packaged them all into a monthly subscription. Everybody's favorite, Maxon One. Get all the Maxon products at one low price. So let's see what's part of Maxon One here. You get ZBrush. You'll also get, if you use Premiere or After Effects, there's lots of cool stuff. Universe is a bunch of plugins. Red Giant is a bunch of plugins for those programs. Redshift is their fancy schmancy renderer, and I actually believe the Redshift render engine works with Blender, maybe? I actually don't know. I should look that up. But anyway, of course, maybe not of course, but Maxon's like original deal was Cinema 4D. So Cinema 4D was, well, I guess not technically my first, but like, because I learned Maya in this class several years ago. And then my first job was with Cinema 4D. And I would say, this is my one person's opinion, but Cinema 4D is like the motion designer's program. It has, I mean, they all have everything. Like you can do character animation, you can do rigging, and you can do stuff like that in C4D, no problem. But it does really good. It has good modeling tools. It also has good like simulation tools. So it's really good for like the advertising world, marketing world, product design, product animation, and maybe not one of its strengths is character animation. So this is what I used when I worked in advertising. I used Cinema 4D, but also because I was sort of like a one-man band, so I was doing a lot of stuff all together. Like it wasn't a team of people who was like someone's doing the modeling and someone's doing the animating and then someone's doing the post effects and someone's adding in this. It's all just me. And so Cinema 4D works well because Maxon does a lot of plugins for all the Adobe products. It also plugs in with After Effects. And so, in fact, After Effects ships with a light version of Cinema 4D. And I believe in the 2023 version of After Effects, there's native 3D editing, which you can use a C4D model or C4D file. So anyway, if you can go on this website too, award-winning MoGraph. Yeah, MoGraph is a procedural modeling and animation toolset that gives motion designers the ability to quickly and easily create complex and abstract animations. At the heart of MoGraph is the cloner object, which allows you to duplicate objects in a variety of ways. So you see that a lot of times in like, the example I always think of is like shoe commercials. I feel like shoe commercials have gone crazy lately, where it's like, it shows one shoe and then there's like, poof, it explodes into millions of shoes, like in a kaleidoscope of crazy stuff. So yeah, I would say, yeah. So here it says easy to learn, easy to use. Um, this says C4D is widely recognized as one of the easiest and most accessible 3D packages to learn and use. Um, I might agree. I think the jump from Blender to C4D is easier than the jump from Blender to Maya. But to each their own. Notice how it doesn't really say, they didn't say a whole lot about character animation, and so you're kind of, that's hinting that this is not the character animator's program here. So cookies, yeah, whatever. Take my cookies. Now let's talk about this. Bye. So again, not cheap, but it's also not $5,000 every 3 years. That's silly. So you can do like individual things, but check it out. If you go to students and teachers, so pricing, this is annual, monthly. How is it? Oh, okay. Huh. So check it out. I guess this is $100 a month, $1,000 billed annually. So that's actually not that much cheaper. Monthly, $150 a month for Max on. But here we go. This is the secret sauce. Students and teachers. You can get Max on One for $9 for 6 months. $10 every 6 months. So it's $20 a year. So I would say this is actually a pretty good deal if you're interested in these things. Honestly, for me, and the work that I do, I'm probably still, it's just as efficient and fast for me to make stuff in Blender because it's free. I would pay $10. I'd pay $20 a year just for the Red Giant stuff. But that's also because I do most of my like work in After Effects, and like trap code alone is worth a lot more than that to me. Particular Form, Shine, Starglow, like Lux, a lot of these After Effects plugins I really like. But anyway, so that's because I'm more of a generalist, and so I'm doing quite a variety of things. So the Red Giant one excites me. But then it's also like, oh, well, then I also have C4D, so maybe I should just spend more time on that, and maybe I should use ZBrush now that it's a part of the Max on One. Anyway, okay, so that's Cinema 4D. So I just Googled, or no, I didn't do that. I internet searched on YouTube. I searched on YouTube Maya tutorial for Blender users, and like immediately there's a bunch of hits, and it's like, it's time, move from Maya to Blender in under 30 minutes. Blender tutorial for Maya artists. Wait, no, this is the wrong way. Move from Maya to Blender. Okay, so that's interesting. People are saying, hey, moving from Maya to Blender. I just realized this is the other way. Blender user in Maya. Want to try Maya getting started with Autodesk Maya. Okay, so like, there's lots of free things out there, and there's even like courses on LinkedIn on learning Maya and stuff like that. And same with Cinema 4D. So like I also searched Cinema 4D for Blender users. This is Cinema 4D to Blender, episode 1. Blender versus Cinema 4D. So there's lots of stuff out there to kind of compare and learn and stuff like that. So what is my advice to you? I think unless you have an extremely clear vision on the program you want to learn, I think stick with Blender, because you're still very early in your careers, skill sets. That it's the most important thing is to just continue to create, and you have enough of a foundation in Blender that it's time well spent to continue building on that. Because looking at like job postings for animators and 3D stuff, it's always more important what you can show, what you can create, versus the software that you use. And like I'll always go back to that animator job posting at Disney. It's like, is it entertaining? Like, does it have the style that we want? Does it show weight? Does it show balance? Like those are the things that people are looking for. And again, not everybody's going to be an animator. Sorry, not everybody's going to work at Disney is what I meant to say. If you want to be an animator, you can be an animator. Maybe you're animating less exciting things, but you're still animating. You're doing your thing. Again, I've been bleeding into my career advice lecture quite a bit, so I'll probably cut it off here. So wrap up your other assignments. Make sure you are getting a start on your final project after you've finished up your other assignments. Don't wait to start. You should just start now. Just like start now by finalizing your ideas first, gathering some reference materials, maybe start blocking things out a little bit. Definitely reach out to me if you need help with the process of doing this. Next week is Thanksgiving, so you will not have a lecture or an assignment or anything at all next week, so just enjoy some time off. We'll Zoom the week after that, just to kind of go over final thoughts and things like that. Your lecture the week after Thanksgiving is going to be Your Questions Answered, so you can look for that in a couple weeks. Otherwise, I'll see you then. Toodaloo. Goodbye.